Well, hey there. How are you? I am coming to you not live from Elgin, South Africa. I have a COVID hairdo, yesterday's sweatpants, and my favorite slippers on. And it's a beautiful autumn day. So it's great to have you here. I'm just saying hi. Welcome to this episode. So today we're going to be investigating the art of listening. In other words, how to really hear people and let them feel heard. I know this is a place where I could really improve. I'm on a journey with this too, so I'll definitely be watching this video to the end and implementing the strategies and behaviors suggested here by me. So I'll also be liking and subscribing down at the bottom. You can do whatever you like. So, why bother being a good listener? I think for one, it can fundamentally change the quality of our relationships at work, at home, socially, and even online. I think it applies to both Zoom chats as well as in-person conversations too. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind just clicking that little subscribe button below, I'd appreciate that greatly. Okay, so let's dive in. And I think you can put these listening tips into practice right now as we sit here together. So topic 1, how to listen. So the first thing to do is to be more present. Take a deep breath and try to breathe deeply and consciously while listening. And one of the best ways of being really present is to ground ourselves. In other words, be in our bodies. To do this, we can feel our body in the seat, but also feel our feet on the ground. Grounding down to our feet. And our feet can be incredible allies for getting out of reactivity and out of our heads. And you can take that even deeper and create a sense of spaciousness at the same time. So that you're focused on what's being said fully, but you're also at home in your body. And also simultaneously, you just open up a bit of a sense of spaciousness. And the object really is to be fully present with that person and yourself. And so it goes without saying, but it'll go with saying too, that we should just turn off all notifications on our phone, dare to go 100% silent mode, and be present with that person. It's also a great idea to avoid having TVs and monitors and distracting street signs in our line of sight too. Move if we need to, just so we can really give people our full attention. Okay, so now we're sitting in our bodies, listening. What now? One of the first things we could do is quit composing replies while they speak. In other words, clear our mind and just listen. Aim to not interrupt. So if you need to sit on your hands, do so too. And I think one of the most beautiful things we can do is upgrade from listening from our heads, processing everything they say through our genius supercomputer upstairs. And the invitation here is to move downstairs and drop into our bodies and specifically actually listen from our hearts. And many of the ancient spiritual traditions of the world speak of this, that our mind and the center of our being is actually in our heart center, right here. In our modern culture, it's not much like that at all, but in mystical Christianity, for example, they spoke of oculus cordis, which literally translates as eyes of the heart. And in Buddhism, it's called heart-mind. So when we drop into the heart, I think it has an extraordinary ability to allow us to listen from a completely different place, which is an incredible gift to offer other people. So we allow our awareness to be centered in the heart. Got it? And then on a more basic level, we can show that we're listening on the behavioral level by nodding and moving our body. Maybe not so much that it looks like we're jonesing for more coffee and really a bit intense, but just to nod and move the body as they say and speak. I know this sounds basic, but some of us might have developed habits of not doing this. I myself developed a very mystical, meditative, stillness listening posture that wasn't very connecting or good for actually listening to people. And a dear friend thankfully pointed it out to me. I like to call this phase my namaste phase, my namaste face phase. And I think I maybe became a bit of a caricature of myself as a teacher and a healer. Lord help me. So just notice if you find yourself frozen or with your arms crossed or any other body language that essentially says, I'm not listening to you, or I'm blocking you even, or I'm in outer space. And these will not be great signals to the speaker, and both sets of nervous systems can then shut down in the process. And so even if you've had an argument and it's tough and you find yourself shutting down, or you're shy perhaps, the invitation here is to open your body and be just open and present with the other person. Okay, next, making space for their voice. One of the most beautiful things we can do as a listener is to give them the gift of our full open attention. Receive what they're saying completely. To help you focus, you can even imagine that you have to repeat back everything that they say afterwards. So you'll listen very carefully, really hear and retain everything that they say. And another mindset is to let them teach you. Have an attitude that you're going to learn from the person, no matter what they say and who they are. Be genuinely interested in their point of view, no matter what. And a deeper aspect of this is to really allow and accept their opinion, their point of view and perspective about the world as they speak. This can be very hard for us. We're mostly very threatened by other people's point of view. If they don't agree with our politics, spirituality, view on ecology, about relationships, we can become very angry and afraid at the same time. So sitting and listening to them, hearing them out, and breathing, grounding, and making space inside can help us open up to a world where lots of opinions and points of view are okay. Taking this further, as we listen, we can drop our agendas about them. We drop inner stories about how they should be or who they should be, and do our best to accept them as they are. And that means dropping our judgments about them too. So that might mean while we're listening that we drop the agenda of planning to fix them, or tell them what to do, or to give them advice, or try and change them, or make them see stuff about themselves, or just give them a lesson about life or how you see it. Maybe it's a lofty goal, but it's at least worth trying to be a heart-centered listener without an agenda. And another one, a big one for making space for the voices, is not to hold people to everything that they say while they're getting it all out. Figuratively, let the weather come through so that it can all be expressed, all the things can come out. And perhaps they only mean that and that, but it's a huge gift to give people the space to be messy and say all of it. Let them speak it out and work it out verbally. So many people carry shame around being messy and too much and not coherent enough in their speech. Help people drop the shame. Most people have some degree of shame about expressing themselves. So I think it's a really beautiful thing to willingly choose to be a safe person for people to speak to. It's a choice and a skill. Become a safe place for people to express by learning to drop all of our agendas and receive them with our hearts. And perhaps our best response is, yeah, I understand why you feel that way. And potentially even repeat back some of their words and feel how they feel, while being authentically and at home in our body. Okay, so let's take a deep breath. All these words coming out of me. So, being authentic and being at home in our body. So I think this is curious. So let's talk about that. I think one of the things we can do is balance our awareness inside and out. For example, if we find ourselves leaning forward and we're so in the TV of what they're saying that we're actually super consumed by it and not really at home inside ourselves. It's like, yes, we're in the story and we're amping it up and we're not actually at home with ourselves. It's very difficult to have an authentic connection if we're not actually in ourselves too. But there's also a balance of not being so far removed from the situation that we're over here kind of checking them out and reviewing and judging everything that they're saying and really separated. So we're neither removed nor aloof, removed and aloof nor codependently enmeshed in every bit of their story, aiming to be at home in ourselves, sitting in a kind of balance, connected to ourselves and the other, and feeling our body and breathing as they speak. And I think a beautiful thing we can do here is connect with our inner body. In other words, both the physical and emotional feelings that pass through our body as they're speaking. And weather may pass through our bodies too as we listen. Our bodies will react to their words. We might recoil from what they say or feel anything from joy and laughter to sadness and anger. Oh, the suchness of life. And if we're listening with empathy, when they express sadness, we might feel sadness too. Or if they're afraid, we might feel that too. Connecting in with our bodies allows us to actually feel a deeper empathy as they're speaking. And finally, another one that we can even consciously open up to is some eye contact, if that feels safe or appropriate for you. It's worth knowing if you're looking away all the time, as this sends very particular signals to the speaker. And without being creepy, allow your eyes to connect. I think it's a fundamental way of opening up safety between us. And ultimately, really what we're looking to do here is co-regulate our nervous systems. As Gabor Mate says, safety is not the absence of threat, it is the presence of connection. So through a deeper kind of listening, we can let our nervous systems attune to each other, and in this act of co-regulation, move towards what they call a ventral vagal state in our nervous system. This can bring us home from fight, flight, freeze, fawn, anxiety, out of numbness, anger, and shutdown to a sense of social engagement, attunement, help us ground, and even love to the highest states our nervous system is capable of. So we can even start the conversation really dysregulated and nervous and a bit anxious, but by breathing and grounding and accepting and receiving each other, we can co-regulate each other all the way home. And so really, just to summarize this, the simple version is to really just listen, be present in mind, body, and heart, and just give them the gift of your open-hearted attention. And if you'd like the same from a partner or a friend, share this video and please drop a comment on how this landed for you. If you're watching this on YouTube, why don't you click that subscribe button below too. I hope you enjoyed this. Much love, and I hope to see you soon. And of course, just so I've said it, there are more videos in this series. Please watch them. And there's a whole lot of videos here for your viewing satisfaction. Also, let's take one last deep, loving, conscious breath together.